welcome to Conversations on NTA Network, a program that's about you and me. And today we have some fantastic guests in the conversations room. I'll leave them to introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maimuna Umi Abdullah, Coach Didi. I'm a personal development as well as a mental health coach.
Awesome.
Prince Kevin Finefair, security and energy consultant and a public good advocate.
Great.
My name is Titi Ojo. I'm a business and communications coach.
All right, awesome. So, in the spirit of celebrating the Nigerian woman, in the spirit of International Women's Day, Women's Month, we're still doing that here in the conversations room. And today we're going to be focusing on the refined woman. How refined are we as Nigerian women? So, the conversations team went to the streets, spoke to some people, and we'll be hearing their opinions right now. Stay with us.
Good manners, comportment and all of that. It's kind of been on a decline in society generally, and a lot of people just wave it off. You get it, but maybe if you catch them in formal settings, they might want to uphold all of that. But ladies, I think when you think about it, especially with our culture, that you tell ladies to sit right, all of that. So yeah, I think ladies do have more good manners than guys. Yeah.
So I feel we are assimilating cultures of different foreign kind of areas and so on, because the Nigeria culture, as we know, our tradition is basically not that. So I feel our mode of dressing as ladies has apparently changed a lot.
Example, I'm a Yoruba. I can say it has diminished right from then. It has diminished, it has reduced. It has reduced drastically, even in Yoruba, whereby we hold on to that the culture of good manners and good behavior. We don't normally in the olden days in my village, we normally prostrate, lie down flat for our elders. But now, hardly will you see someone bending like this, talk less of prostrating. We are now in era of handshake. Someone who is old enough to be your father, stretching your hand to him to shake him. Women now see all these immoral things as a normal way of life now. They see prostitution as there is something they call it now. They will say hooking up. What are you hooking up? You are hooking up. You are nonsense. And guys too, they see drinking, substance abuse as flexing. So who is fooling who?
The girl that doesn't greet or show good manners, they don't actually value that girl at all. This is our community. They always feel that, okay, her parents didn't train her well, this, and even it's not even her they actually blame. They always blame the parents for not training her well and stuff like that. Anything men does is right, even if it's wrong. The society takes it as it's right because they are guys, they can do anything they don't feel like.
Actually, it is not true. Just like I said before, it depends on the environment you grew up. Environment actually changes people's behavior. There are a lot of women out there that are very, very good. You talk to them, they respond in a very polite way and in a very mannered way. So I don't believe that women have changed. There are a lot of them out there, go to the offices, they dress well. Those ones that are not dressing well, there are few among the ones that are dressing well and are mannerless too.
The society now, we feel, okay, it is me, it is my thing, it is my body or whatever. It is whatever I want to do, whatever I want to wear, that's what I'll wear. And then we actually, as ladies, we don't feel like the society is looking up to us. We don't feel like even our younger ones that are coming up are looking up to us. They'll just be like, everybody have his life. Oh. Anybody that wants to do like this should do like this. If I want to do like this, I do my thing. But the truth is, this society we are, as Africans, as Nigerians, we have culture. We have, I don't know, it's just the decadence in the society that is causing all of this. But we have culture that we should respect. As an Hausa lady, if I know that going out without my veil is going to put me in trouble, I won't go out without my veil. As a Christian lady, if I know that, okay, what I'm wearing is actually not cool, it's not actually something I can actually go out with, I shouldn't do that. But but with the society, be like, okay, dress to kill, just dress to kill, dress to kill. That is what is actually killing us. When you dress to kill, you go, somebody looks at you from his mirror, maybe from his car, he looks at you and then he gets accidents. You've actually dressed to kill. You've killed somebody, isn't it?
Okay, so that we've heard from people on the streets on good manners and our composure, etiquette. Are we truly losing it, Kevin?
Well, it's a mixed grade for me in the sense that we're actually evolving. Society is evolving, and because we have these mixed cultures in Nigeria, Nigeria is not a monopolistical country. Nigeria is more of a cosmopolitan nation. You have different cultures, different traditions, and the fact that we have access to digital information and all media comes to the country, the likelihood of these things to evolve is actually there. So we're not necessarily losing it, although, yeah, some people are taking things to the extreme because we see some of these things on our screens and tend to play them out in reality. So with the nature-nurture relationship that we're supposed to be having is where we should be focusing on. What cultures do we have? Traditional belief system, our religious belief system, how we're imbibing that in our children to see that they grow up with such kind of cultures and get it. If we generalize things, then we're actually not making helping ourselves. We cannot generalize it. We have to look at it from cultural basis or traditional basis or religious basis. If you're a Christian and you're dressed in some kind of manner that completely conflicts your tenets, then there's a problem. If you are a Muslim, you dress. It is expected that there's expected standards, based on our religion, expected standards based on our cultures, So we have to look at it from that perspective before we can say we're losing it.
Yeah, there was something about what the guy said, Titi. He said, hooking up and flexing, which are words you hear a lot. I don't know what your thoughts are about that. It resonated to me because I was like, okay, I hear hooking up a lot, but I didn't actually relate it to prostitution as such. Do you think it's the same thing?
I think so. Hooking up, I've heard even guys talk about hooking up as in let's hook up someplace, and at the end of the day, what they want to hook up to do is let's just get high on something. Yeah. You see ladies say let's hook up at a particular place. We have some online platforms now. It's the hookup platforms. Yeah. There's a guy in my church actually on Sunday. We were just talking, and he said he drives he has an Uber service, and one guy in the car, I think it was a passenger, spoke to him and said, you know what, we can do a hookup with some of these older ladies. There's a platform right now that you can, if you register on it, just give me your name, I'll put you on it. Somebody will just call you and say, I need someone for maybe 2 hours. They're all older women, gigolos, or is it gigolos we call them? Yeah. So I was like, oh, this car you're driving, forget, in 1 month, you're going to change it. He was like, tell me about this. Wow. So I said, he just let the guy on to let him finish. He said, okay, I'm going to send you my name. I said, yes, I'll just put you on. It's a hookup. So there are these women. So it's a platform right now. And for them, it's legit right now. So this kind of things are happening. And the guy called it a hookup, actually.
I know Coach is waiting to say something. So why don't you just go ahead?
About the hookup?
Yeah.
Well, I honestly, for me, I didn't know hookup meant prostitution. I would just think hookup is let's meet somewhere.
Hang out.
Have a lunch date. I could tell you let's hook up later in the day and have lunch. So honestly, for me, it's just meeting someone, socializing. But in the context she said, it's definitely prostitution.
But that's what it is. That's what it is because they use words that we're familiar with as codes to carry out these things. Hookup is basically it.
Wow.
It's simplifying what society will frown at and making it to be more acceptable. So a guy is going to a particular state or location, is asking for hookups so that to get someone who can come in to pass the night with him, or a girl is coming to and she's asking for the same thing. So Society is actually evolving in such a manner that we are losing it completely. But we have to begin to look at it from those bases I actually mentioned earlier.
In that context, I think I agree. In that context, I think it's within context.
Right.
If you are traveling and you are in a new place in a hotel and you tell someone that I need someone to hook up with for the night, of course it means prostitution.
Yeah.
But if I tell her, can we hook up later? I'm asking her out to
perfectly
lunch.
different.
It's a launch, yeah, but I'm saying that those words that we're used to is actually being used.
Yeah.
There are coinages now as codes.
Yes.
If you look at our kids, they send short messages that you don't even understand what it means,
True
right?
that. True that.
It's scripted. They come up
Very
with.
cryptic messages. Now, Kevin, I know you have kids. Do you think that our children are losing? He talked about people giving handshakes to old men. I don't think, are your children like that? I don't think so. My kids are, I have 7-year-old twins. My children will not shake their grandfather. They know what to do. So I don't think we are losing it completely. Maybe to some extent, but I think there are some parents out there.
What he said was a bit generalized, which is actually out of place. Everybody, like I said, I'm not from that western part where you have to prostrate or do those things. I mean, we know how we greet our parents. I'm from the Niger Delta region, and yes, you have to do some form of obeisance and gesticulations, but not necessarily prostrating. And my kids, they wake up in the morning. With today's reality, we do hugs. You say, come here, baby. You give a kiss on the forehead and all of those things.
Yeah.
If they grew up with such kind of culture, and I would often tell them, look, you don't fear anybody, you only respect. So if you don't know the person's name, you ask for the name. You greet him by the first name with a preface with it.
Yeah.
To show, you don't call somebody auntie or uncle. No, if the person's not your uncle or auntie, don't say that.
Okay.
We need to teach the kids in this other perspective. Now, they know, my kids see you on the road, they greet you like as if they know you before, sir or ma. And people tend to look at them like, what are these ones? They are so, bushy, kind of. Yeah, people say that to them. In some cases, we're walking on the road and greet someone, they don't even answer them, they don't even respond.
Yeah, that's what it happens.
They don't even respond. So I told them, see, if you're walking and the person's not looking at you, don't say hello.
Don't say hello.
Yeah, don't say hello.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's sometimes embarrassing when you greet someone, the person doesn't respond. They feel it. But because they tend to want to show respect at home, to give me that validation, they tend to do it often whenever we're out.
Yeah.
And that is weakening them. That's what I want for them.
Well, Coach, do you agree?
No, actually I don't, honestly. I teach my kids to greet everyone they come across, regardless of who the person may be. When we're walking together and my baro is passing by and he's older, I tell you, say hello. It doesn't matter the class. Sometimes they answer them something they don't, and I make them understand it's not on you, it's on them. You are a bigger person. Yeah. You are doing the right thing. If they don't answer, it's all about them. And I tell them sometimes you don't even know what the person is going through. Perhaps he didn't even hear you because he has so many things he's thinking about. Yeah. So I make them not to even worry about the response, just their own duty, obligation to say hello. And I think that's where we're getting it wrong. And what she said again about, someone said something about the society and westernization. The truth is declining. We are emulating the white people, Europeans, their standard, and it's not us. And I tell people most of the time, anything to do with etiquette, it's basically accepted behavior.
Yeah, but Coach, we can't wrap our kids in bubble wrap and protect them from what's out there. They will be westernized to some extent.
To an extent. Mm-hmm.
To an extent. There's TV, there's social media. We can't, I don't know, Titi, if you have anything to say about that, but I think so.
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure.
For me, I don't think it's all about a bubble wrap. It's all about empathy. Because what I teach them is whatever you do, however you treat people, it should be the way you want to be treated. So it's all about how you want to be treated. And if everybody is empathetic towards other people, then we will not be mean. If you don't want another person to be mean to you, you will not be mean to another person. So it's just about being kind to people. And I think that's what we're losing now. People are no longer kind.
Yeah. Being kind, empathy is key. Yeah. When I said I don't want them to just say hello, because see, you know how you feel. If I say hello to you, you don't respond.
Feel bad.
You feel bad, right? So what you do next time, you want to be able to be sure that the person is looking at you. So if there's no eye contact, you don't say hello.
No, I understand that.
So you don't miss the point, or you don't get embarrassed that, because someone is not saying hello back to you or not responding. That was the point I actually made.
Right.
Empathy is key. It's something that we don't have anymore, that we need to begin to teach people. And that's what I know. I actually put my kids. I'm actually very intentional with my kids. Very, very intentional. And it's important that we teach them how to show empathy in relationship and in how things flow. Because that's the best way we can get results.
Okay.
Or else we'll miss it.
Yeah. To
So.
see your thoughts on empathy.
Well, first of all, I'll say that it's about upbringing. Actually, most of us are a result of where we've come out from. So I'm Yoruba. My frustration is, of course,
second nature.
But my kids don't frustrate to get me in the
They
morning.
don't.
No, and I don't even see anything. I've never really looked at it like, oh, you should. I don't know. I guess I've been out of the house for a while anyway, and I grew up also kneeling. But today, if I go home and see my parents, I'll still kneel down to meet them. I don't have a daughter anyway, so maybe if she wasn't kneeling, I would have said.
Okay.
But it was until I visited my kids some time ago, and my son was greeting my mom in a certain way. I said, your children don't know how to prostrate.
Wow.
Like, and it was kind of a reminder for me at that moment, like, oh, that's true. There's maybe somewhere, and maybe elderly people as well, like my parents, and they're just greeting like, hello, grandpa, and they're just passing, and the guy is wondering, you don't know how to prostrate. Your mother not teach you that. But the truth also is that Western culture, we've had a lot of infiltrations over the years. Our kids are exposed to a lot of Western media. Even we are parents, we reprogrammed, whether we like it or not. Some of us have been reprogrammed.
Yes.
Without even knowing it. It's until someone says something and I'm like, oh, that's true.
We've let our guard down just
that's
a little.
It. And the interesting thing, I had a boss, the program manager when I was on the UK project.
Okay.
And they've lived in the UK for as long as I can remember. So she came around for this project. And anytime our kids come in, the guy prostrates like with his entire chest on the ground. I was like, my God. I had to tell her, like, is this how this guy greets everyone? He said, yes. I've told him, he's a Yoruba boy. Even in London, where we live, if we go visiting any of our friends, he has to prostrate. That is it. And I see him do that. The way he goes on the floor, in fact, I'm like, let's help you out. Even the daughter. I'm like, it's really about upbringing. She has taught her children exactly that.
But speaking about daughters, do you think we were harder on the girls in terms of you have to be a lady, you have to behave, you have to be a certain way versus the boys? I know you have boys, but what do you think about girls? Do you think we're being a bit too hard on our girls?
I think our parents were harder. We are not.
They were harder on us.
Yeah, they were harder on us.
Yes.
And I think they made a mistake. And we cannot make the same mistakes our parents made. I have raised my children. When my kids were growing older, they became teenagers. We had a timetable. Everybody had a day. The boys had a day. The girls had a day. On your day, it's your turn to cook, to clean, and to make sure everybody comes down for prayer. You are responsible for that day. And I didn't think that simply because you're a boy, so you shouldn't cook, you shouldn't clean. But you see, that's different from our parents. Our parents raise girls to work and serve. And I keep saying it. I have this program I do on mental health. We have been raised to serve. Serve our parents, serve our siblings, serve society. And when you grow older, you're going to serve your husband, serve your in-laws. You're always serving. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a noble thing. But we weren't taught to serve ourselves as well. So all we do is serve. And we have to change that narrative. I raise my daughters to understand that before they can give out to others, they should give to themselves first. You cannot give what you don't have. So I don't distinguish between the boys and the girls. In fact, I make the boys work harder. Perhaps it's not fair, but I do, because I tell them, you are men and you have to be able to raise good children as well. So serve your family. So both should serve. And the thing about sorry, can I add something? There's something about our culture. No matter how much we try to emulate the Western culture, we need respect. I think the core of our culture as Africans is respect. Today you talk to a child, you're talking to a child and the child is playing with his phone. Can you imagine doing that to your mother? Really? She's talking to me, I'm looking somewhere. See, I don't even have touch phone, I should look at somewhere else. But today it's happening.
You know what? There's a rule. When I take my kids to my mother's house, no devices. None whatsoever. She's like, I want to engage my grandchildren. Don't bring any tablet, phone, what? No. Because she wants to see and, study their behavior, everything.
Intentionality.
Yes. So it's a no device zone when we go to grandma's place.
Which is good. I mean, this is something that some other person can actually copy. Because now that you mention it, some other person can. I didn't know that. But you always know that once it's time for grandma, that you need to give grandma's time. It's key. Connecting the kids to that. It's also important we don't get to sexualize and create this gender disparity. Every child must be groomed to show empathy and to show leadership. At home, I have a boy and a girl that lives with me. And my kids, there's no difference between the boy and the girl in the context of responsibility. In the context of service, the boy understands that he needs to show care. In the context of service, again, she needs to show respect. Because the thing is that it is my adulthood I get to know that a woman needs to understand how to feed the boy in a man and to respect the king that he is. It's also in this adult I get to know that the man needs to be able to play with the girl and the woman and to affirm the queen as she is. Without these two responsibilities, we find ourselves grooming kids that becomes delinquent children, adults, or very responsible people. We spend more time, training the girl child and do nothing to the boy child. At the end of the day, the boy child comes up as a man, very responsible man, and showing machoism and all of those things, which is not about humanity. Benevolence is key in our development. Once we begin to teach them benevolence, then they go out there to begin to treat people likewise. I give an instance. My kids went to boarding house and they were always out for the truth and benevolence, but they were called different names. Snitch, all of those things and stuff like that. It became a struggle for them to survive in school. So when they came, I said, look, there's a street smartness that is needed. And that's what you need to be able to play it cool, not allow yourself to become a victim. So you have to learn the survivor trait. It's key that I taught them that.
Okay.
It's after that experience, they have to now start teaching them how to be able to survive on the streets. Because at home, they all know that, look, you have to speak the truth at all times. And they get out there speaking the truth, put them into trouble. So what do? Street smartness require that, they need to know when to tell the truth and who to tell the truth to, and not necessarily speaking at all times to want to defend, the universe, because you can't defend the universe, except of course you are the Almighty.
They're I won't call them children now. They're older, young adults now in work environments, and you can see them maybe in elevators. You're in the elevator, you're trying to go out, but there's a rule of thumb when it comes to entering an elevator. Let the person in the elevator come out before. They're pushing you, they're coming in, they're brushing against you in the corridor. You know what I'm talking about, Titi. It's back in the days when my dad, I hear his car come into the compound, everybody jumps up. You're picking his suitcase, someone is helping him with it. He was in the army, so you're picking one thing or the other to get into the house, and a lot of us aren't doing that. You enter the house and your kids are watching TV, like, okay, you're here back.
They just even welcome you. They just look up to acknowledge that we saw that you came in. Okay?
But let's talk about the young adults that we find in work environments that brush up against you, and is it that they just don't know any better, or they just don't have the patience?
Right. So I'll say two things. Life skills should be taught at home. I love it when I see young people say, oh, my mother taught me this. When you see that they have some really good character, and oh, my father taught me this. Yeah. Man, I feel very proud of their parents when they say those things. Like, how this is what my children are saying about me. Just really, it goes a long way. And because of the authenticity that comes with it, it's my father, it's my mother. I learned this from them. They just take it, and they also exude the same in their life. Yeah. But then, of course, there's what we call etiquette. We've talked about it. So it's acceptable rule of behavior. I think our young adults need to be taken through sessions like that. Yeah. I want to say this. So there was a time in my church we had this Sunday school. The Sunday school topic is a Sunday school church meeting. The title was social etiquette. For the first time in how many years I've joined this mission, that was that year that social etiquette was taught. And there were like almost 15 rules of behavior in that thing. I was one that even taught it. When I said, I'm going to teach this one. I love to teach something like this. And like a year after, I was doing a review. And I said, okay, last year, what were the lessons you took away from Sunday school? Somebody said, that teaching on social etiquette was my deal breaker. That I never even knew a lot of the things that for the first time, and I'm hearing this in church, and it's been taught in church, things about using your phone when you're talking to someone was there, entering the elevator, saying good morning. I think she mentioned like 2 things that she never heard that was really...
Saying thank you.
I'm telling you, and she was like, wow, that she was somewhere. And she would have acted, the opposite. But when she remembered that training, she just behaved herself. And somebody had to comment on that. Wow, you're so well behaved. She was like, hey.
So that means we have to depend on churches, mosques, and...
we need to continue to...
If they're not learning it at home.
It's not necessarily churches, mosques. It's church, mosque comes from the home.
Yes.
If we don't do it at home, we can't take it to the church. It's not there. Those in the society, those who call leaders, those who look up to in our mosque, in our churches, or even in the far religion, where because oftentimes in Nigeria we only recognize 2 religions. I mean, we have multiple religions in this country, so we have to continually give those people the credit. If we're not teaching the right culture, the right etiquette at home, we can't get it out there.
Right.
There's no 2 ways about it. Life is about what you put in is what you get out. So we need to be more deliberate it's unfortunate that parenting is not taught anywhere.
You learn
It's
as you go.
unfortunate. You know, because we're all experiential people, right? We saw what our parents were doing, we copy part of what we're doing, we sap it, and when we become adults, want to practicalize those things we saw happening. Or the things we didn't even like from our parents, we start seeing ourselves subtly doing those things.
Yes.
Because it's a sponging effect. And so what are we doing as a society to ask ourselves what are the basic etiquettes that we need to relate with? I used to give this example. In Nigeria, we oftentimes say that people are currently dressing so unclad, naked, and all of those things. And you go to Zulu land, people are dressed naked. And you're like, okay, so what is happening here, right? So what are we doing? Do we really have a culture as a people? Do we really have a culture? Do we really have standards we're looking up to? Of course, there are standards. But those standards are in pocket sizes, based on our religion, based on our traditional belief systems. So when we come out to the general public, to the larger society, we are actually coming out with those pockets of, cultures and traditions and religion, or the faith that we were groomed with. So we get out to the larger society. Do we as a country, do we have national values that we are inculcating in our people? Yes, we do, but not being taught. That's the sad part. Not being taught in our schools. I grew up learning some of those things, and that's why I'm a bit cultured in the manner that I'm cultured. Or else Western influence would have taken over. Because when you see these things, it's allowed, it's applauded, someone goes up stage, slaps somebody on the stage, and is given an applaud. No, tell me. That is reprogramming. We should frown at it.
So let me just quickly add to this. Sure. Even on the etiquette issue, offices, public, we talk about creating awarenesses and orientation. Even our offices, we have a role to play. I remember there was a training I was to do for a major parastatal of government, and because we're moving to the new building, and the DG is of the opinion that he needs to take his staff on what etiquette is all about. So we had to put in etiquette of using the elevator, as in everything, of using the restrooms, because these are issues. You use the restroom and the whole place is upside down, you don't flush, you stay in the elevator, you move, you want to come in, people want to come out, you want to enter an elevator, some people want to step out, give them that chance to come out, and then you can go in. So we had quite a bit, even on as simple as email etiquette. It was really interesting, and they found that so interesting. If you see questions, grown men, some were even close to retirement, they're like, wow.
They didn't know.
They did not know. Like, and even shaking, handshake, how do you shake the limp handshake and the powerful handshake that shows confidence? That was it was a powerful training. It was like 2 sessions.
We have a text message that came in. Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm learning a lot. I like the fact that you talked about even toilet etiquette, if I can use that word, because some people go in and maybe pee and come back without washing their hands, and you expect to shake other people. That's basic etiquette. You need to wash your hands when you come out of the loo.
I think for me, toilet etiquette is beyond that. I teach my kids, even in the public restroom, when you go in, clean it up. If I walk into in a public bathroom, I go into a restaurant, and I spill water, I look for a mop. I clean it and wash my hands. Because that's the problem. You go into a bathroom, even within the home, you go in, use it, and leave it messed up. For who?
For who?
The simple rule is live it better than you met it.
Live it better than you met it.
That's the simple rule.
This is something we have to keep on teaching them.
Yes, and you know what? Littering comes to mind as well. When we take something in the car and just toss it out of the car. We do that a lot.
I look at it and I keep asking, maybe we should start arresting people.
True.
My kids,
we should.
When you even take sweet in the car, leave it in the car.
Leave it in the car until get home.
You trash it. But I see people who are educated and cultured throw things out of the car onto the street.
Same people complain much later and say the environment is dirty. The first time I traveled to the US, we're driving on one of the intersections, and I wanted to actually do the things we do in Nigeria to actually speed out. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is so clean, I can't do this here. The consciousness of the fact that, so I came back, and that really taught me a great lesson. I came back and realized that a lot of things we take for granted here and we do and think is normal. It's actually really abnormal. Really abnormal. It actually starts from culture. My kids are my accountability officers, because we drive, often we're always together. So if I'm driving, if I must say bad things, they're there, right? If I need to beat the traffic, they're there. If I need to speed out, they're there. If I need to throw trash out, they're there. So I was driving 2 days, we're going to school, and I was picking up the phone. My son said, Daddy, you're driving, you're using the phone. I said, oh, really? Sorry. And I apologize, right? Drop the phone. It's such kind of consciousness. What am I teaching the kids? Tell me what will happen tomorrow. They'll get to know that, okay, this is not right to be done. Because if you can't do it in my presence, don't do it in my absence. Right? That's the rule. We need to teach people. But how do you teach them when they don't know? How do you teach people when they don't know? When you don't even know?
It's by being an example. I think and being an example. I always say this over and over again to parents. We are the mirror of our children.
Yes. Absolutely.
They see what we most of the time we're more of talkers. We talk, we don't do. So you can't keep talking and expect them to do it. No, you have to they emulate you. Do what you think is right and they will follow suit. I think it's simple.
Kids will always do what you do, not what you say.
Absolutely.
It's
I was going
simple.
to ask her about that. There should be a certain. Does that mean I need to be always prim and proper around my children? I can't really be myself if I'm
important. Let me use the word important.
I don't think that's feasible. You can't be prim and proper all the time.
Yes.
What I teach kids is to understand that, look, I know this is what's right, and I tell you this is what we are supposed to do, but I make mistakes sometimes. Just like he said, my kids correct me. There was a day I beat traffic. They said, Didi, you beat traffic. And then, didn't you say it's wrong? I said, yes, I shouldn't have done that. But I said, I shouldn't have done that. It's wrong.
And that's something our parents never did. They never admitted.
No.
They were perfect.
They never admitted they were wrong.
In fact, we never even tell them when they're wrong. We just...
Can you tell them?
No way.
Do you know how many times my kids have told me that, didn't you say this is a wrong thing to do? But you just did it.
All right, yeah.
We teach our kids to express themselves. We weren't allowed to express ourselves.
Yes, we weren't back then.
No, right,
good morning, my name is Shegun. I feel the society at large needs to understand the meaning of etiquette. It starts from home.
Right.
And I think even at schools, they do things like that.
They used to.
In my daughter's school, they asked us
like,
to bring, plates and cutlery and the rest, and they all simulated a proper dinner.
Yeah.
That's for only eating then.
That's just for
eating.
No, but you see, there are schools. For example, can I mention names?
Right.
The Doveland International School, for example. As you walk into Doveland International School, the first child you see and the next child say, "Good morning, ma'am." Every day I'm in awe because that's what for me. Like, you know why? That's why I repeated it. It's so important because it's our culture to greet elders.
Right.
Today you pass a young child and they just look at you and walk past. You know.
So many times
I'm telling you. So when I go to that school every day, I can't believe it. If you pass 100 kids, they will stop and say, "Good morning, ma'am." If you pass a janitor, he will say, "Good morning." If you pass a cleaner, so it's a culture they inculcated. And I think it's something we should all inculcate.
So let me just add to that. It's important that we also put that in the curriculum. See, education is very key. If you want a change in any nation, education is key. Our curriculum, from primary school, from even when the child gets into school, I think we should inculcate etiquette, and probably should be at every level, not even GSS 3. Every year,
every single level.
You have to keep reminding them and let them.
So it becomes part of the culture.
It's
because
there. We can do a lot with cultural reorientation from the school.
And that brings to the point.
At least they can be
that brings to the point of deliberateness of the system. If those in a position of authority don't see it as a responsibility to see the need to have our educational system imbibe with our cultural differences, right? And put that in our curriculum. So you start teaching different cultures in schools. So the kids from a Karam and mother will understand that whatever you see from the other person is not strange.
Right.
And not see himself to be overly righteous than the man who is not doing what he's not supposed to be doing. Because we have cultural differences. The first day someone saw me eat, back then in school, I'd cooked, and I was eating swallow, and like, oh my God, what are you doing? To him, like, it was strange. It's from the north. It was strange that somebody is eating this kind of mold and all of those things. So,
It was strange.
It was strange.
So get back to this, your story with the mold. This is Conversations here on NTA Network. We'll take a quick break. We're talking about good manners and decorum. We'll be right back after this.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
All right, we're talking about good manners, decorum, embracing our culture here in the conversations room. You know, when you talked about the mold and the mouth, I distinctly remember in primary 5, I came to school with amala, and so, the kids laughed at me, so I was so embarrassed. And I love amala. I do. They're like, but it's so black and you know.
Yeah.
You know, and they probably eat it in their homes, but you know, everyone was just
for me.
Posh,
for me.
You know,
thank you.
Tend to want to be the posh kind of things. See, we should not deny ourselves or our kids the opportunity to be who they really are. Societal validation, the need for society is part of what is actually driving us living pretentious lives. I mean, it's killing us. You know, my kids have taken my local food to school before. What we call the onunu and stew onunu is actually mashed ripe plantain, very ripe plantain with yam, mixed with oil. Then there's some local spices. You pound it like you pound pounded yam, right?
Okay.
And the mold comes up. Then you have delicious stew to mash with it. So you're like, what are you eating? You know, kind of. At first they were shy. I said, no, take it to school. Let them know what you have. You know, even yam and pepper soup, fish pepper soup, you take to school.
Wow.
Then it's well packaged, you take to school. You see, because for me, it's basically living my culture in reality and living me. You see, if I'm not proud of who I am, then I'm not supposed to be hanging around with people. So if you don't want to accept it for where I am, then forget it. So that's confidence building also for the kids. You know, some kids will laugh at them because some parents tend to send their kids to be bullies unintentionally. You know, they make them feel too special. Meanwhile, they're not that way. So they get to see other kids not understand their culture. They don't teach them to know, look, there are different types of food. The first day I saw me a cooker, right? What is this? Blackish and looking at this, and what's this? And like,
greenish,
and okay, no, some cooking greenish, they are thick green stuff. And like, what's this? Like, so I tasted it. It was nice. I'm like, but you guys don't even eat good food, right? Because from where I'm coming from, you have a lot of protein and other spices that comes with your food. I mean, there's no way you see a reverse man cooking his food that you won't see all of the seafood kind of things that comes in alongside. And you go up there, you see people eating. So you have to learn to, accept other people's culture, for who they are.
Okay, we have a message. It says, my name is Chris from Jikoi, Abuja. I appreciate you guys and the topic. You guys are doing a good job. Growing up as a kid, there was no segregation when it comes to responsibilities at home, either the boy or the girl child. In fact, I usually do most of the pounding and grinding at home, and it has helped me even as an adult in assisting my dear wife. Thank you.
Wow, lovely. That's what we call romance in the kitchen.
You know?
And there's no wife that doesn't like the husband cooking.
Truly.
Not all of them.
Oh, but
the way you're talking, Kevin, I think you do a bit of cooking.
Yeah, right? I do. I did a master class last year. I tagged romance in the kitchen for men.
Wow.
Because the truth is that we need to be able to at least get into the kitchen sometimes to do something for our wives or our partners for them to see. The only thing I don't want to accept is for wives to want to domesticate their husbands. It is not something you should ever think of doing. Never domesticate your husband. Allow the man to domesticate himself for you. But that's what gives him who he is and makes him to show that he's loving you. You know, and also never you try to domesticate your wife, because making her feel that that's our responsibility. It is something that we must come to understand that we are equal partners. There must be a leader, no doubt about it, but allow the individual to be that individual. If she's doing what she's doing, appreciate the fact that she's doing that. Not saying it's our responsibility. What that does is that you start making her to feel like she's a slave or servant to you. She isn't a slave or servant, because when it comes to the time when we get to the bed, we're equal. You see that? We're equal.
Very true.
And in most times, if they want to deal with you, You know what it means. Okay, so that's it. So we need to. So cooking is something we must all learn. My little boy is 14. He's going to be 14 in the next 2 months. He cooks. Deliberately, is I even have the name. He's a chef.
Okay.
Chef Boyo. You know. So he cooks. The girl cooks. Responsibilities are given to them. It's a deliberate effort to ensure that, not because tomorrow they want to. I don't want to be a slave. No, so that they don't get stranded.
That's it. Yes.
They don't get stranded for any reason. In fact, they cook their lunch food, in the morning.
There's a message that came in, and I'm going to throw this to you, Titi. It says, Good morning. My name is Ufanima. I have a question. Does this mean etiquette is not subject to change? For instance, it's not African culture to eat with cutlery, but we do that sometimes. We emulate it. What's wrong with greeting an elderly one with a handshake? Etiquette is changeable. I just want to know.
Okay, so I think etiquette should cut across. So we're looking at cultures. There are basic principles in etiquette, basically. So we're saying when you greet anyone, you greet them with respect. Etiquette won't say you have to prostrate, no, because that's somebody's culture. Etiquette won't say you have to hug, because that's not someone's culture. Some have to kneel down. So when we say general rule of behavior, it connects everyone somehow. It's not what's that word? It's not unique to one person or the other, but you should practice it across board. Wherever you are right. That's what it means. So so we can't say prostrating is an etiquette, no. But we can say greet your elders. And you know when you're greeting them, that's when you see an elderly person, you greet the person. Whatever we want to greet the person, whether you want to kneel down, you want to have a handshake, you want to hug, but show that, oh, good morning, sir. There's that courtesy. So that is teaching courtesy.
That's awesome.
When we talk about eating, we're saying don't speak with don't you. You're speaking while you're talking. That's a general thing.
Slurping your tea, or your drink.
So when we come to dining, the dining etiquette with a fork and knife, that's in itself, that's peculiar to fork and knife. Yeah. You also will have etiquette in China. They show you how to use the chopsticks. Yeah. So those are unique.
And in Africa, we use our hands.
Yeah, that's it.
And so invariably, if you're eating an African food and requires you to use your hand, use your hands.
That's it.
Why would you want to do like the Westerner? You pick up your cutleries and you have your knife on your left hand and your fork in your right hand. Why would you want to do that? That is not an etiquette. That's the wrong etiquette. The culture says right and left. And so that's where you should go by. If you want to use your hand, please use your hands comfortably on the table. But if you are in a public function and it requires for people to behave in that decent manner, you have to learn to be like them in that place. Uniformity of responsibility is something that's required for public settings. If you go to your private place, it's fine, you do that. But if it's in the public place and it's required, it's what is the etiquette of that culture. Please respect it. If you're going to eat noodles and it's in a Chinese man's place, then you learn to use the etiquette. I visited a Korean friend and they offered corn and all of those things. I saw them using chopsticks to eat the corn, chips, everything to eat. I'm like, wait a minute. I was looking at them. I'm watching. What do I do here now? I'm like, no, you can, Kevin, you can. I said, okay. I put this in. Immediately I have to learn how to use the chopsticks. To also pick my corn, pick all the things I needed to pick. And I left that place. Took my time to learn how to use chopsticks. So today, I'm good at it. I use chopsticks to eat anything now. But it's always good when you use your hand and mold the wraps.
I remember an event I attended in Japan, and that was one JICA program. And of course, opening ceremony, I had the chopsticks and the food, everything was just dropping. I was struggling. And one elderly woman just approached me and gave me, I think a spoon. Yeah. He just spoke the language. I said, yeah. Because he noticed that, man, this is a newbie, she can't understand this. And I had my food, I was like, thank you.
You see, the culture accepted you.
Yeah, that's it.
I think the thing is not about even the culture accept, it's you accepting the culture. I think it's all about me. And when I was taught the etiquette of using fork and knife, as a Muslim, I cannot eat with my left hand. So it was impossible for most of us as Muslims. We will cut with a knife and fork, but I will still move the fork to my right hand and eat. So you have to adapt it to suit you.
Wow.
Which is a clash of cultures or a conflict of cultures.
Yes.
I understand because the very first time I had dinner with a Muslim friend of mine, and I was basically obeying the rules. And he's like, Kevin, you can't do that. I said, why? He said, no, you can't use your left hand. I said, no, you need to adapt the fact that I'm used to this. I'm not you.
Okay. Okay.
And he looked at me like, I said, no, look, Abib, you should understand I'm not you. This is me.
You must learn to respect each other.
You need to respect that. And after a while, he said, man, that means that we're not going to be going out to eat dinner. I said, well, that's what you want, it's fine.
Wow. No,
serious. Okay, we have another message that came in. Good morning, my name is Violet from Owerri. Some parents tell their wards not to greet a particular person. We've all been there. We've all been there. And some of them encourage their children when they go out on a date to bring back shawarma for them. Could you throw a bit of light? Coach Didi, I'm going to throw that to you.
You see, like I said, as parents, we are the mirror of our children. We have to be able to, there's something we say in neurolinguistic programming, you have to learn to separate the person from the behavior. Right. If you have a problem with a person, that's you. I don't think it's okay for us to let our kids, I try as much as, but when I have a problem with someone, that's what my kids don't have to know. So I don't think it's okay for you to tell your kid not to greet anyone, greet everyone. Greet everyone. And hold your own base. It doesn't matter. It's very common.
Yes.
Or you make a face and the kids say it. Yeah. I know sometimes it's involuntary, it just happens. Yeah. But you try as much as possible to mirror what you want the kids to do. What's the second thing here?
Shawarma.
Shawarma.
Bring shawarma if you're coming back.
You see, and that's another thing. It depends. If your child is working, he's earning money, it's a different matter, right?
Going out on a date.
Okay, on a date, yes. You see, that is the problem. This is the problem. You are encouraging your child now to ask things, to ask for favors from them. We were raised not to ask. So how can you tell your child to even, first of all, she's going on a date? Really?
You won't even try that.
In the first place, must dates be the responsibility of the man at all times? I mean, the way you guys, you're sounding.
Back to that culture. Number one, vex money is key. I've always been taught to vex money. But when a girl leaves university with a date, they go out. That I want to buy food for my friends in the. We do that a lot.
Yeah, you know why?
And it's become a norm.
We all been programmed, to think in a transactional form, and the woman, unfortunately, is made to think that our virtues are values. So she's going on a date. She's thinking of transactional thing. If I must go out with you, okay, to prove that I really dealt with you, you have to spend money on this. And so when the guy doesn't have the money, he doesn't go on the date. So we emasculate the men from being who they're supposed to be and not necessarily functioning as men. And subtly, parents subtly push their daughters into subtle prostitution.
Yes.
That's what it is.
So what do you advise? So if mommy wants shawarma, mommy give me the money.
Yeah, mommy wants shawarma with money. Yes. See, mommy, why are you telling me I'm going on a date with this person? You don't even know if he has money. I cannot go and inconvenience him. It also shows the character of the mother or the parents, When parents begin to make demand from their kids to bring in some kind of thing, is actually gross irresponsibility for me.
In fact, like, you've even gone far. If a child, you have a daughter, maybe she's working, she's earning 10,000 naira, and she comes home with something worth 50k. Ask her where she got it from. Right. So it's not even the matter of you even asking her to bring extra is out of question. When she comes in with something else that is way beyond what you can afford, you should ask, because we should raise our kids to have moral standard. Yes. If you want to have a cup of water, work and earn it. Right. Don't ask someone to pay for it.
No.
And I think that's where we are struggling. Parents are so okay with their kids begging. Right. It's become a culture. You open your phone, this person will call you and beg you for money. Begging is so normal now. No pride, There's no sense of pride. It's okay simply because he's serving he's a senator or he's a member of rep serving you. Beg him for everything. He's not responsible for your family.
They push the kids to go meet the uncle or meet the auntie.
I want Kevin to give advice to the guy taking the girl out on the date. And when they say, well, I want to buy food for my friends, how should the guy respond without burning the bridge?
Okay, it works in multiple ways. If the guy is bent on wanting to have access to our treasures, he will want to do any and everything possible to get her. If that's what she wants, I will give. Now, guys spend not because they value so much to spend. They spend in anticipation of a return.
Okay.
Right?
Return on investment.
Now, yeah, of course. Now, not in all cases. There are exceptions. If I was the one, for instance, if I have the means, I would do. If I don't have the means, I will tell you. Recently, I visited some friends at the lounge, and we're just there. A lady just said to me, buy me a bottle of beer. I said, no, I won't buy. And she looked at me. She said, what did you say? I said, no, I won't buy. And she said, are you kidding me? Where are you from? He said, it's from Nigeria. I said, Nigeria, you say you can't buy? I said, I won't buy. She said, are you serious? You mean you said to me that you cannot buy? A lady said to you, I said, I'm sorry, you made a big mistake. I won't buy. Because that wasn't what I was there for. Right. It didn't make me to be stingy. If you like, call me that, that's your business. You need to respect the fact that I'm human first. You don't just ask me to buy you a drink because you think I'm a man and because you're a lady. No, it doesn't work that way. There has to be that interplay of relationship for me to do things I want to do, right? So if I'm going on a date and you say, I'm sorry, I've taken a girl on a date before and she want to buy food for her friends, and I said, I think you pay for that. Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. If that means I won't take anything, and she walked away. Thank you and God bless you.
Whoa.
It's as simple as that. Was it rude? No, it was not being rude. We need to teach culture. She's seeing herself.
But I bet that was the end of the
Yeah,
relationship.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Some
That
people
was
are
it.
not deserving of
You know,
that.
because she saw herself as a transactional value.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, then stand on the street, open a shop.
And I think that's why it's important we raise our daughters to have very high self-esteem.
Important.
Don't ask people, don't beg people to do things for you. Work
Let
for
it be
it.
on volition.
Buy it for yourself.
Be content with what
You
you
know,
have.
Nika, see, just not to cut it short, every man have the desire to shower, gift and love to someone he is actually in a relationship with. A man would do anything and everything possible to please a woman. But when you start demanding for it, you're telling him subtly that what you're demanding for will guarantee you this. He takes you on a date, spend all the money, then he says, okay, Alpha, let's do this. He said, no, for what now? Is it because you promised? So you've been eating all my money since. That's why they come with that ownership.
Yes.
We must teach it. We must teach our kids to understand. We must empower our daughters to have the money in their pocket to go on a date. A date must not be the responsibility of one party. If you ask me for a date, you must take the bill. If I want to do it, it's on volition. Or if I want to partner with you, it's on volition. I don't expect I ask you for a date, I say let's go on a date, and I ask you and I say you should also pay. No, I don't expect that. I asked you because I know I have capacity. And I must also take it to where I have capacity to go on a date.
Right.
If I say, tell me where you want to go to, I'm giving you an open check. If you said, I need to go to Duo, okay, fine. If I have the money, we'll go. Because I've already calculated, plus minus 2 persons, I will spend up to 17 to 20,000 naira.
Yeah.
By the time you finish your meals, So I know that if I don't have that money in my pocket, sorry, can we do Chicken Republic?
Right.
There's no shame about it.
No shame.
You can take extra chicken and extra chips.
And some ladies,
We're out of
you
time.
invite them on a date, then they bring their friends.
Yes, then they bring their friends.
And the guy is wondering what's going on here. It's really bad behavior.
There's no shame to reject, irresponsibility.
All right, we've been talking about good manners, decorum, and so many other things here in the Conversations Room. I hope you were able to leave today with something really important, something that resonates with you. I'd like to thank Coach Didi, Kevin Fineface, and Titi for joining us today. Hope to see you again on another episode of Conversations. See you, and thanks.